The hardest part of this work isn't the children, it's carrying the adult dynamics without community. Hey guys, Dr. O here. Listen, welcome back to my channel where we boost your confidence and your compassion so you can create early childhood classrooms that thrive. Listen, I've been doing this set of videos because I really think we need a place where we can learn how to steward early childhood well. You have tools and strategies so that you can steward the early childhood classroom. But I also know that you cannot do this work alone. And that's why I created a school community for early childhood educators who are interested in stewarding early childhood well. In the last video, we talked about how we don't need more strategies, we actually need support. And in this video, I'm going to talk about what the hardest part of teaching is. And the hardest part of teaching, it is not the children. You want to know what the hardest part of teaching is? It's the adults. Navigating the adult relationships that are so essential when it comes to this work that we do. We all know that kids are the mission, but navigating the adult relationships, that is the challenge. Now, you may notice that my background is a lot different. I'm out here in Menominee, Wisconsin, just finished the early childhood education conference, keynoting there, talking about how we find joy every day. And, we're always talking about the emotional regulation for students. But what I talked about in this keynote is emotional regulation for adults because unregulated teachers mean unregulated classrooms. I feel like this is the thing that we all feel, but it's really hard to say. The kids are not the problem. Can we normalize that you love and care for your children very deeply, but still find it extremely difficult to navigate the adult relationships that come with children? And I'm not just talking about parents and families. I'm talking about your coworkers. I'm talking about your colleagues, not just your parents. Navigating adult dynamics can feel very overwhelming. And a lot of the burnout that we say we face comes from the difficulties and the challenges that we have from these adult relationships and not necessarily the children. We have parents that have different expectations. We have coworkers with different values. We have leadership challenges. And what about feeling misunderstood? These are all very real challenges that we have to navigate in order to steward early childhood well. Because, as you all know, teaching is nothing more than a series of interactions. You can have all the strategies, all the pedagogy, all the best and appropriate practices. But if your interactions are unhealthy, then it's going to lead to an unhealthy classroom environment. We've all been there with parents with different expectations. The parent wants the child to be able to read, write, and write a dissertation by the time they turn two. The parents want us to engage in developmentally inappropriate activities for their youngest learners. And we have to tell them, like, hey, this is not what's best for children. They want us to give them worksheets. They want us to teach them how to read and write. And we're like, bruh, they're 2 years old. Can they play? But we all know that parents have these expectations. And so, how do we navigate the parental expectations with what we understand and what we know to be developmentally appropriate practice? This is a challenge. Parents are out there thinking that your classroom is Burger King and they can have it their way. Meanwhile, you have 10, some of us 11, some of us 8, some of us 15 students in our classrooms that we're trying to serve well with best and appropriate practices. But we have parents questioning what we do because they may have a job that is labeled more prestigious than ours. They talk down to us. This can be very difficult to manage. No matter what level of education and skill that you have, this is a challenge. As you're balancing the education of young children with the expectation of parents, this is hard work. What about dealing with coworkers that have different values than you? A colleague who has different philosophies on the way they approach life and what happens when they challenge you because you don't believe what it is they believe. You don't vote the way they do. You don't worship the way they do. You don't engage in the same lifestyle that they do. And when there are activities that your coworkers are doing and getting together and you decide not to participate in those activities for your own personal reasons, oftentimes we may be labeled as we're not a team player or we're not here for the kids or we're not collaborating. When we all know collaboration is for the purpose of the betterment of our students and families, it's not for social gatherings. But that's really hard if you're in a school and everybody's looking at you and saying that, oh, she's not a team player because she doesn't want to go to happy hour. She doesn't want to participate in the Christmas party. Or you just want to go home at 4 o'clock and you don't want to linger. Or you don't want to accept some coworker's Facebook friend request. And so it's difficult to be in a building where you feel like you're ostracized or you feel like people are judging you because you have different beliefs. You're navigating different philosophies. You believe in disciplining differently. You believe in educating differently. You just do things differently. And that can make for a very challenging classroom environment. Let's be real. If the challenge is the adults, then community is the answer every single time. What about leadership challenges? I mean, can we say a lot on leadership challenges? Have you ever been asked to do something by a director or an administrator that you know good and well is developmentally inappropriate or will not work for your students? And you try your best to advocate and speak with your administrator, but they're talking down to you and they're saying, this is my building and this is how things are going to be. You can feel that tension as you navigate your school day. And that tension doesn't just live in the classroom. That tension lives in the culture of the building. And some of us are navigating very toxic systems, very toxic cultures that we are teaching in. And we feel called to the building. We feel called to the children and the families of that school. But if we're honest, the environment and the culture of the school is just plain toxic. This is hard to navigate. This is hard to deal with. And what about those of us who just pour into our kids all day? And we still feel misunderstood, unseen, and judged by the adults around us. Our family members are saying, why are you doing so much for your job? Why are you doing so much for these kids? Why are you coming out of your pocket for these kids? They don't understand that for you, this is more than a job. This is a calling. And you love your kids and you care about them. And if you have to come out of your pocket for them in order for them to have the best experience possible, you don't mind. But yet you're getting all this judgment from your family members and maybe from your friends. You can't pour into children all day and survive adult challenges in isolation. You need community. What about those who are judging you as extra because you do go above and beyond for your students and your families? And you may have some coworkers, some colleagues that are lackluster. They give the bare minimum. They don't put their energy and effort into what it is that they're doing. And frankly, they don't take the job seriously, but you do. And because you do, somehow you get judged as, oh, she's a Miss Goody Two Shoes or he's a Mr. Goody Two Shoes. They're trying to trying to outshine us. That is difficult to navigate. These interactions with the adults that surround you have the potential to cause you to burn out, to cause you to leave a profession that you're called to, not because of the children, not because of how difficult it is to teach students and navigate student behavior, but because of the difficulty and the challenges that come with navigating adult behavior. Listen, we learn how to lesson plan, but we don't learn what good communication skills are with the adults that surround us. We're taught how to guide the behavior in children, but not how to navigate and handle emotions. And these are the things that you don't find in the professional development sessions that you go to. But I understand that in order to steward early childhood well, we have to learn how to navigate adult relationships well, because this is the hard work of early childhood education. Kids do not come alone. Kids come with families and caregivers. You do not teach in isolation either. Many of us teach in centers and schools that have other teachers, directors, center owners. And it's going to take the same intentionality that we put into our pedagogy in order to deal with the people, AKA the adults, that surround us. I gave a simple strategy today that I think would help as you learn how to navigate the very real challenges that come with dealing with adults in early childhood education. And the simple strategy is called Finding Joy, J.O.Y. When we are dysregulated, it may be difficult for us to find joy and get back to the place where we can respond to situations rather than simply react to situations. And so, finding joy is a simple acronym that we can remember when we are dysregulated. The J is judge your thoughts. What am I thinking? Is this a rational thought? Does this thought make sense? Am I weaving a negative narrative about the adults that I'm interacting with? That's not necessarily true. Is this parent the worst parent in America? Probably not. Does my director hate me? Probably not. Are my coworkers the absolute worst? Probably not. But these are the thoughts that we think. And if we ruminate on those thoughts become things and then they translate into how we interact with the people that surround us. And so we have to judge our thoughts. And if our thoughts are irrational, we have to take those thoughts captive and throw them out and think a different thought. So when the thoughts are in your head and they're negative, we have to judge them. This is not rational. Let me throw it away. The O stands for observe your feelings. We're observing our feelings without judgment. Your feelings are neither good or bad, they just are. And you cannot abolish what you will not acknowledge. So you have to acknowledge how you feel. If this situation is making you feel sad or angry or upset or depressed, you can acknowledge that. This is where I'm at this moment. In this moment of dysregulation, I am feeling X. Okay, so how can I get back to a space of joy? How can I navigate through these feelings and not just cover them up? Because unless you start to acknowledge how you feel, you will bottle up all your feelings and eventually you'll explode. And for many of us, exploding in early childhood, unfortunately, comes out on our students. And now we're engaging in inappropriate behaviors with our students, like yelling at them or engaging in much more punitive structures, taking away playtime as a punishment and a consequence, which is crazy. All because we weren't able to acknowledge how we feel and navigate through those feelings. So that is the O. And the Y is you want to yield to the positive action. You cannot help how you feel. Feelings come and feelings go, but you can help how you respond and how you react. So you always want to yield to the positive action. What is the outcome that I expect? And can I get to this outcome without dehumanizing myself, my students, or my families? And so when I am dysregulated and I am dealing with the real difficult challenge of navigating adults, navigating adult relationships, I need to find joy. I need to judge my thoughts. I need to observe my feelings. And I always need to yield to the positive action. This strategy is easier said than done. And this is why community is not optional, it is essential. You need a place that you can go to say, oh my goodness, these adults are getting on my nerves. Oh my goodness, I don't know how to deal with my director. She is asking me to do XYZ, and I don't think that's developmentally appropriate. You need someone that you can share your feelings with, share your struggles with without feeling judged. You need spaces where you feel supported, understood, and poured into. You were never meant to carry this work alone. And the hardest part of this work is navigating the adult relationships that come along with it. So, if you're saying, Dr. O, I don't have that space, we've created that space for you. So make sure you join us in our school community, Dr. O's Learning Lab, where we're going to be talking about the things that no one wants to talk about, navigating the very real challenges of dealing with difficult parents, difficult colleagues, and also difficult children, because you cannot steward early childhood well if you are unwell. And self care cannot happen in isolation. Remember, you don't have to do this work alone. Community is not a strategy, it is not a professional development, it is support. We hope to see you inside the community. If this video resonated with you, make sure you like and subscribe and share it with another early childhood educator who needs this reminder. Comment below and turn on the notifications so you don't miss another video. I'm here to help you steward early childhood well. This work doesn't work without you. So, in my next video, I am breaking down how boundaryless teaching leads to burnout and what it actually looks like to protect your peace without losing your professionalism. Because when everything has access to you, every opinion, every expectation, every demand, you don't just feel stretched out, you get burnt out. I'll see you in the next video.